That's
We're
right.
8 minutes great.
We're on a comic book look time right now. All right, everybody, we are going to let this warm up, and warmth we need. Holy smokes. Speaking of warming up, who has a minute to win it tonight?
Sam, you're always good at that, don't you?
I mean, if you need me to do one, I can do one
I
here.
believe in you,
Sam will
Sam.
give you the 7-minute to win it.
Let's go. Let's
7
do it.
minutes to win it. Let's think of something here. Have you guys ever tried turnips before?
Ooh, that's a great question. You hear about turnips all the time, right?
I've
Yes.
never-
Have you
I've-
had a turnip before?
In-
What is
in
what
video
is your thoughts
games?
on turnips?
Sometimes I feel like the power-up is a turnip.
Yeah,
You know.
that was in Mario Bros. 2. Super Mario Land Bros.
But I don't think I've ever had a turnip. Sam is frozen right now because he
Never.
can't believe how.
I know.
It's just my internet.
The expression is fantastic. So
Mark, have you
There we
had
go.
a turnip?
I've never had turnips.
Have you ever seen a turnip in person?
I've been known to turn up, but
Yeah, my boy. That's right, kids. Minute to win it is done. John, start the show.
I don't even know how I can open the show after that, Sam. That completely stole the show, if you will. But let's go ahead and start this party off. Best drum roll a guy can do on a glass desk. Notice we're rotating so I don't break this poor thing. Hey everybody, it's a comic book look. It's your boy John on Demand, aka still the comic book UF with the freshest threads on. Joined, of course, by co-CEO extraordinaire Thomas Devine. There can only be one Midwest Highlander. Still got the ponytail, I see. So we're good there. I whip my hair back and forth. That's right. Me too. I do it too. Sam does it too. Mark?
definitely not
maybe,
me.
All right. Hey, speaking of which, we got Mark in the building, aka brother from another mother, great from another state, and the comic book Buddha. Check out that shrine behind him.
Turn up God.
And speaking of turning it up, turn the ignition over for the newest hot rod on the comic book look lot. Sam I Am is in the building, also known as the Sam I Am on Rainbow Live. Or not Rainbow Live, Rainbow Wednesday Night Lights?
Wednesday Night Lights.
Yeah, they had this.
I
cool
usually
thing
will
that
get
they
it
do
wrong
now.
though, in case he will go like, okay, Sam, you gotta like
Yeah.
pretend you're like got other than you just raising your hands in the air.
That's
That's pretty
that's
funny.
Awesome. All right. Well, with that, we are in January, boys, 2024. This year is off to a very frigid start. Mark, how are things going in your neck of the woods? Because it's nothing but bad news bears up here for us.
And it's going good, getting the year started off right.
Man,
It's been taking it easy right now.
are you guys getting as much snow as we are?
Not this week, and tomorrow is supposed to be beautiful, but I think next week is going to be bad for Tennessee.
Okay. All right.
So
well,
we're all just gonna go to Tennessee for a
Tennessee.
week. Is
That's
that what we're
right.
doing?
that's right.
Should probably be nothing compared to what you guys are facing.
Well, with the show being called a comic book look, we are going to look at some books tonight. And the show's criteria for this evening, I feel like we should have like a Wheel of Fortune sound, doo-doo-doo-doo, and have like letters pop up or whatever. So I'll just Vanna White this and just imagine that it says we are reviewing one book tonight to talk about it. A comic book look. We're taking a look at it. Boom.
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 It's in
Shout
the
out to
name.
Dr.
It's in the
Erica.
name, John. A comic book look. We are going to a comic book look today.
We're going to look at a comic book. Yes.
One book.
One book. One book to rule them all. All right. So who wants to kick it off?
Since I'm in the bottom corner and I spoke up first, I'll go first.
Okay.
Super stoked to first see you guys. What's up, Sam? Saw you at the shop today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was good to see you. Good to catch up. Good to get the
Mhm.
books. And you know, a lot of times when I get to the shop, you know, I check box number 420, my box,
Mhm.
and a lot of times I usually say, you know what, we don't even really have to check that box because there's probably nothing in it. You know, Lazarus doesn't come out anymore. Saga barely comes out. You know, Fables every once in a while come out. And Sean Phillips and Ed Brubaker books don't come out that often. And that's what's my box. So I don't have a ton of other things. Everything else that I buy, I just pick up. So it's like, those are the things. Well, my box had two things in it today, with Fables coming out today and
Whoa.
the book I'm going to review, which is Where the Body Was. So this is Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips. You know, we get a hardcover graphic novel. These are my favorite things in comics. That this is my favorite team. These guys usually do crime stories, and I've talked a lot about the Reckless series. I love it. That's like my favorite. But for the last two, they've been off the Reckless series. They did an all black one. I just wanted to grab it quick. This was the last one they did, was Night Fever, which was great. But this is their new one. So Where the Body Was, you kind of look up and it's I don't know. What's your take from this cover here, Mark? What would you say this book's about?
Definitely death.
Exactly. Where the Body Was. And you think it's going to be this hard crime story about a dead body and finding out what it was. And they do a little trickery and trickaroo where it's actually kind of like a personal story, a romance story, a slice of life of where you're at. And one of the best things that I love, and I love this in movies, I love this in novels, I love this in comic books, is when they give you a legend that breaks down where all the locations take place.
Yeah, that is fun.
So I have each one of these. This is the neighborhood. It hooks around this proper way. This 7-Eleven right here has a big place in it. The woods behind it play a toll. And it's like how you can get from point to point tells this big story. So opening up with this, I was like, this is very interesting. And they mark right away where the dead body was found. So that's what you think it's going to be. But then it just jumps into a personal tale from one person's perspective. And then you really transitions into another person's perspective. And it's all people maybe in 2010 talking about the 1980s, maybe even 2005 talking about the 1980s, telling their own personal story about this crime of this dead body. But they never even mention the dead body until you're like 20 pages towards the end. And then things all loop together with an affair from a person who has a badge. So you assume they introduce him as a man with a badge. So that's, of course, going to be a cop. But it's not. It's just a man who has a badge and he pretends to be a cop when it serves him well. And then he has a relationship with his neighbor's wife. And then there's another people a couple houses down who are like a halfway house, but they're all just druggies stealing from each other. And they all have interpersonal problems and relationships. And it's all intermixing around this little girl who dresses up as a superhero on rollerblades and wants to monitor the neighborhood. And she sees everything that goes on in the neighborhood because she's watching everything. It's ties all of these different things together with, these different relationships, and all of the sudden in a way towards the end, you can see how they're all starting to build on each other, how they all overlap a little bit, and it goes to this dead body. And so then in the end, you're like, where is this dead body? What is this dead body? How is this? Where did this dead body came from? And you're on the last page and you still don't know, or the last couple pages, and you still don't know and you start to realize this book is not about this dead body in any way. It has nothing to do with this dead body. It has to do with the lives of these people. And you're at the end of the book, and all of these people have never felt more real. And every single one of them, and every single one of them kind of reminds me of maybe a relative I have, or a person I've known throughout my life, or somebody I worked with, or I can see myself in these different situations. And man, it was just like, damn, who gives a shit where the body was? And then it's like, Where the Body Was, I think that's like a play on it, because it's like, it doesn't mean where the body was, man. It's like where your body is in time and where it's at. And it's crazy. And then at the end they say, well, if you still want to know how he died, you can flip the page and find out. And then, it's that, and that part was really, really fun, which I definitely won't reveal. But I definitely suggest you pick this up. It was very fun. 6 out of 6 beers.
Ooh,
Really
okay.
As you were talking, I kept getting some old noir film inspo. Was that in there at all?
Oh, you couldn't be more on. Though that's what these guys do. They are just that is the style they write in. That's how they write. That's how they draw. This is the least noir, or if we're French, noir type of story they've probably done, but still, it's just a part of their DNA. And so, yeah, I would definitely say it is, Sam.
I think the reason I was thinking that is, one, the body is Rosebud in this
Oh, yeah.
case. It doesn't matter what Rosebud is in the end. We know it's a sled, but like,
No, yeah,
the
exactly.
point is knowing
It's
the
childhood,
character.
it's everything else, right? Exactly.
Yeah, it's like is the Rosebud thing. And then the other thing I was thinking was, do they do a Sunset Boulevard thing in there where you show the body to start and then they go back and just tell the story of how the body got there?
Well, they don't show the body. They actually just in that, that opening map, they show where the body was. But honestly, I'll try to find the thickness of when the body's actually like becomes a part of it. And it's right here. So if we look at where it's at, you read all of this thick part, and then it's the body, and then this is the end. So it's like the body ends up being like, they don't even talk about it. They don't bring it up. Nobody knows about it except at that beginning part. And by the time you get to that section, you've already forgot it was about a body or there was supposed to be a body. And then when there's a dead body, you're like, oh shit, this is about a dead body. And you're like, oh yeah, wasn't this supposed to be a crime book about, criminals like killing each other? No, not the case. Awesome, man. So yeah, definitely. And look, I read a lot of comics, but there's lots of comics that I just don't end up reading, or they come to some pile or not end up reading, but I end up reading them a month later or 6 months later or something like that will happen. That doesn't happen with these books. Like, this is a full graphic novel. I picked it up today and I was
About a 6-hour difference from when you bought it into now, and it's already fully complete.
Exactly, and like had time to think about it and digest it, and it just felt good. And it was like, yeah, my kid was watching something on YouTube. I was like, turn the TV off. We have much more important things to do, as in I need to read this book. And it was perfect. And yeah, so Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, I really appreciate the work you do. And the other unsung hero is Jacob Phillips with the art. As you guys can tell, these palettes are just so interesting. They're so moody. He never is like cutting out a person to make it, right? Like, this person probably has like blonde hair and certain color eyes, but she's purple because this is the mood right now is purple. The mood right here is red, and it goes into yellow. And that's how all of these stories are like that. So you never see like, oh, this guy has brown hair, I'm going to always make the brown hair, and then I'll put another shade on top of it. That's not how he does it at all. He's like, yeah, I feel like this is yellow, and then there's like a splash of this where their coat could be. And then if the color goes beyond the coat onto the bush, I don't care. It'll all be okay, and it ends up looking so cool.
It's kind of one of those things where you don't even realize that it changed on you as you're reading it. If you're just kind of like paging, if you're just reading fast, you would pick up on that immediately.
Totally, Sam. What I'm saying, when I'm going through it, I'm going, this is a blonde-haired girl, even though I'm seeing a purple girl, a red girl, a green girl, a yellow girl. She is a blonde, white girl, and that's all I'm seeing in my mind. And I'm feeling the emotion of what she's feeling and the vibes of that scene that she's in because of the colors. But I'm not thinking of her as purple, right? It's just great job all around. I was excited. I actually got to pick the topic of today because I was like, let's just talk about one book and let's review it. And so I kind of stole from everybody because this is what I want to talk about, baby. Where the Body Was, Sean Phillips, Ed Brubaker.
Boom.
Well done.
6 beers.
That'll be our grading scale now, on a scale of 6 beers.
Yes, it has been.
6 is the best. Yeah, 0 beers is nothing.
Mark, isn't that great to hear a fresh face like that say that, Mark?
All right, would either of you two want to go next, or you want me to go next?
I am gonna go next because I feel like you guys are gonna completely bury me because my review is not nearly as awesome as your guys's, as I can tell you that already. But I am gonna earn some serious brownie points tonight with one of you, and I'm so excited about this. All right, so who's ready to talk about Doctor Strange and Fall Sunrise issues 1 and 2? So I had a chance to read issues 1 and 2 finally. All right, this is a 4-issue thing. I think I have issues 3 and 4 in the living room still to read. But Tom sang the praises about the interior artwork. I obviously went with variant covers because I'm a little bit of a diva and I suck. But I will say that when I actually went through this, I bought these and initially flipped through them like, oh yeah, I'll get to it at some point. But when you actually take the time to go through and read these issues, holy Hannah, there's a lot going on here.
Trav Moore does those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no wonder they're fantastic. Yeah,
they are crazy. So this Doctor Strange, the False Sun Rays came out during the Death of Doctor Strange events, and then the Strange series that was limited with Clea as Doctor Strange during this time. So it was just kind of a limited run thing. But man, this is nuts, and this is giving me vibes from like Doctor Strange Volume 2. Just the artwork in here and stuff. So first of all, the writing in itself was nutso, but I did want to there were a couple of full page spreads in here, or not full page, but just things that were going on. So as I'm lettering comic books coming up, I'm paying more attention to things, just details, colors, fonts, placement. What does it all mean? What does it all look like and feel like? This book pushes the ticket on so many levels. And I'm just kind of like sitting back, like I had to flip back a couple of times and be like, what just happened? I'm so excited right now. There's a huge one that says bong on it. So I thought of Tom
Thank
right
you.
away. Yeah.
there you go.
But just pages that are just so unique and interesting and just things that you don't traditionally see. This is not your Krakoa X-Men, whatever is going on. And then this spread from page 1 really took me in. And I just, again, this is true, like, take your mind and just leave it on a shelf somewhere while you're reading this, because this is going to take you just outside of all the walls that you've ever known. Tradmore and the team definitely have done their job so far with that. However, I have not read issues 3 and 4 yet. The other thing I will say is that I got so distracted by the beautiful artwork that the story itself has been kind of a roller coaster for me. And there are pages in here that open up, such as this. Oh my gosh, that, yeah. And that's part of the story. So for me, with my glasses and old man eyes, I'm kind of like in a dark living room, like, what does this say? So there are some challenges there in terms of like getting all the information that I need and not wanting to like blow my circuits out. But I will say again, I appreciate the look and feel of these pages. And I'm really excited to see a strong offering for Doctor Strange, because sometimes I think maybe he got swept into like a brief cameo or a limited run or more of a mainstream approach. This is here we go. This is what I was thinking of. This is the kind of stuff that really just makes me happy, because it really is Doctor Strange, and I look forward to issues 3 and 4. And it's been a really interesting story so far. However, I still can honestly tell you I don't really know what the heck's going on, just because the text and everything, it's quite hard to read in some places. So I'm just like, but he's on an adventure. He's in 2 places at once. He's trying to help a person give birth in one scene, in one world, and in the other realm, he's like blipping in and out uncontrollably, and he's trying to help 2 people break what is called a body machine, I believe. And that's like where it stops for issue 2. So I don't know the whole story yet, so I can't give you a full plot synopsis. But definitely well worth it for the art in itself. And I'm looking forward to reading issues 3 and 4 so I can be a little more educated on that. If I were to give this a beer rating right now, I'd have to give it like a 5.5 out of 6, only because I'm a little thirsty. So.
Hell yeah, John. Wouldn't you say that book is... It's a comic book that almost challenges you as a reader.
Yeah, I have not read anything like this ever.
Yeah.
So it just, like I said, it reminds me of notes of like Doctor Strange, some of the older stuff, which I have a lot of that to read coming up too. But I just wanted to get this 4-issue series read, and I know that Tom loved it, so I figured it'd be kind of a fun one to do tonight. So.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I made my best of covers for last year, and it was like my favorite comic book the year before. So. Yeah, love it.
Heck yeah. Who's next?
I can go next if we want.
Woo.
So the next one, I'm going to try my best to explain, because it's kind of one of those things that's really cool. But if you were to, if at least for a guy like me, if you're to put it into words, you're gonna like you're gonna have to like explain it like you're 5 kind of thing. And that is it's 2 issues, but I only have the first one, the second one, but it's actually Fantastic Four 15 from I think this was last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't remember. I read it yesterday. And what this in issue 14 is a whole like thought case almost on how somebody could possibly alter the future by just living in the present. The first one is all about how a guy, the Fantastic Four, like come across this guy who's messing with their crater, which should have their building on it, which they time displaced for a year. If you've been reading the Fantastic Four, they was supposed to drop that moment, and it just didn't. And they're like, oh, what's going on here? And then they start realizing that people are working and building something in this crater, and they're wondering why this is. And apparently there's this app that people just use, and they get points where they can turn into money to just work and build these things without really like anybody knowing who's in charge of any of it. Fantastic Four go to this guy, and he's like, yeah, we created this. We made this like algorithm what can pinpoint how if I were to want this to happen, how I could make it happen. And I use it. I call it MetaMind. And I've created this app to put out to make like to have people do it for me. And then they build it up, and I'm altering the future to benefit me now. And Fantastic Four was like, ooh, we don't really like that. I don't think you, a multi-billionaire, should be having that power. Let's stop that. But then as Mr. Fantastic's trying to fix this and get him out of what he's doing, there's an unbeknownst hacker that just takes over and like kicks everybody out of the MetaMind system. And that's how the 14th issue ends. They're like, oh, looks like we did a good job here, everyone. Yes. And the 15th issue is where I think this really starts capping off a little bit. It is all about the mysterious hacker is actually MetaMind itself, which is
in big brain Reed Richards didn't see that shit coming.
Come
on, he's
storytelling, you know. Listen, it's to further the plot. We'll roll with it. So apparently this MetaMind is a super intelligence, and it is strewn about everybody's phones that has these apps, and the people it's starting to create its own like projects for all the people to do. And the MetaMind uses these people as its neurons, its brain. And by making all these people go out there and do these what they seem to be mundane tasks, it eventually starts like trying to point out a signal to another super intelligence out there. It's like, hey, maybe is there another one like me? I'm the only one. I'm terribly alone. And it says, hey, Reed, if you try to mess with me, I've put your family and that whole block where the Baxter building is in a pocket dimension. You don't get it back unless you work with me or just deal with me. And the interesting part is how it talks to the Fantastic Four is through the people walking around. They get gems and stuff to go up to the Mr. Fantastic and say, Mr. Fantastic, we have your building and we're not going to give it back to you until this. And then another person walks by and says, I'm doing this regardless if you want. And another person goes by and says, I hope you understand.
That's sweet. Well, they all got brainwashed by the app.
They just don't even realize they're a part of, like, they're contributing to this super intelligence. They're just cool. Like, if you and me were like fiddling on our app, like we always do, and we didn't realize this, there was like a whole like a super AI that is controlling something to send a message out to another super AI almost.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's totally AI talking shit, right? As all these comic artists have now had all of their shit stolen by AI without their permission in any way, spitting out their own work to them. I mean, it is fucked up. And then I love that they're putting it into the Fantastic Four plot right now. That is
And it's one of the really cool things about it is like how he stops it. Like everything he does, like he can't figure out a way until he thinks of one thing. He goes, "What if I just make a competitor app?" And then all of a sudden, MetaMind is losing its neurons, its people, and he goes like, "Give me my stuff back, unless this." But at the end of the issue, that CEO breaks it, like finds some weird like Deus Ex Machina code to kill the app, and like so it starts getting dumber and dumber and dumber. And Reed Richards is trying to find a way to save it because it's like a whole new breed of intelligence. So he's just like enamored by it still. So like, I can save you, MetaMind. We can work together. And he's like, "Oh, it's okay. As much as my time here was short, I got to live, and that is something that a lot of things like me cannot say." Dead.
Dude,
And,
that's a good one. Who's writing that these days?
It's Ryan North, really good.
Oh yeah,
And
I heard you like him, and other people have been saying they like that guy too.
And the teaser page at the end goes and says, "Before MetaMind went down, it did send a message out, and we have no idea who's going to take that call. If it's someone good, someone bad, or a malefactor of any kind." And so I guess what I really like about it is I feel like I'm reading a really good episode of Star Trek Next Generation with this.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I feel like it's just a really cool sci-fi concept that it's frankly not that far away. It's like it's far enough away where it'll be like it's still gonna be weird to us, but if it's not that, like, you know, we have the AI already. It's stupid right now, but it's not gonna always be stupid. And it's very cool to see. And like I never would have got that from this cover. It's a very cool cover. It's a very cool concept. I don't know. And what I enjoy about it is it does flow. It does like every one of these like topics that Ryan North wants to talk about. He hits on in one issue and then he's done. But he still finds narrative through lines to like make you feel like you're reading a long, elongated arc within it. And of course, it's like me, spoiler alert for a book for like came out like 2 weeks ago. The Baxter Building's finally back.
Whoa.
Their kids are back. They have everybody's back now. Yay.
No more milk cartons.
Yay, they're
Okay.
alive.
Yep. And it was very good. It's just a very interesting thing. And I can't wait to see what they do with it now since the Baxter Building's back. Because that was the whole hook for the first 15 issues is that they weren't, kids are gone, building's gone. It just, I don't know. It really does feel like you're watching or reading a really good episode of Star Trek. And that's what I think is cool. So yeah, if you're not reading Fantastic Four right now and you like really digging into ideas of like sci-fi ideas that are not too ridiculous, but also could also are heavily entertaining, definitely give Fantastic Four a ride right now. You can't go wrong. Alex Ross is doing the covers for it. What are you doing? You already should be reading it.
Now, Sam, there was a really important question that came up. It was me.
Okay.
About this cover. So can you hold that cover up for me?
Yeah.
My upon initial glance, my first gut reaction was, what is Mars Attacks doing on Fantastic Four?
It's not in there. Not too terribly off, man. That looks like Mars Attacks.
I was kind of giggling over here. Anyways, that's my question. That was
All right, you got to give it a rating. And Sam, since you are not familiar with our rating system, clearly this is a 13-year-old rating system.
All right.
Where it is 1 beer, that's 0 beers is the worst, 6 beers is the best. That's the best you can give it, except if things are really, really good. We're talking next level where you can't even really explain it. Then you can go beyond 6 beers in whatever interesting way.
Jaeger shot or something.
Yeah, hey, look, that'd be great. There's been a keg, there's been a 30-pack, there's been a 12-pack, there's been, all sorts of different things. But however you wanted to do it, but really it's just 1 to 6, 0 being the worst, 6 being the best.
I
I
would
gotta
say
add though, if it's really bad, you got to put it in a Lazarus pit of beer and hope that it offers up a better offering for you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would say it's a good 5 out of 6 beers.
Okay.
That's good. That's a good book right there.
Yeah.
We
And that's
gotta
what's-
bring that bull back, man. Oh my god.
I got those books somewhere. Some of them, so we should almost check to see if they're better now that they've been. If we read them,
Artwork might look cool. I don't know.
we'll probably get mold poisoning from reading them.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Heck yeah. We should totally do that again.
Awesome, Sam. All right. Well, Mark, we get to hear what your book you're covering this week, buddy.
Right on. I talked about it briefly, I think last week, or I just had mentioned it. This came out last week. It was Pine and Merrimack by Boom Studios. Just everything Kyle Starks does just really resonates with me. He's writing this one as well. I think it's going to be 5 or 6 issues. Pine and Merrimack's not their name. That's like the street they work on. It gives their backstory here. Their husband and wife, the female, she lost her sister at a young age who was murdered. And then that kind of it made her want to go into like law enforcement and detective work. But she wasn't really able to deal with murder and being around that. So she still wanted to do detective work, but just like the more light side of it, like people cheating on their spouses, people cheating on their taxes. She's more into that now. So she's not around all that violence. She did meet him whenever she was doing more in-depth detective work. He had lost his partner. He's a former MMA fighter. So he's kind of like the muscle and she's like the brains, but it goes more into more detail and depth than just that. But she is taking it easy now. Like I said, she's doing more just light detective work, but then someone does come in who has lost their daughter, and it looks just like her sister that she had lost previously, and it kind of tugs at her heartstrings. So then they start to investigate into that. Now that's going to be them trying to solve that case for that husband and wife that come into their office. But love this. Definitely give it a 6 out of 6. It was perfect.
Oh man,
Oh.
awesome, man. 6 out of 6, and that's the first issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the interiors looking like?
Very
That-
nice.
the
I'm not
cover is
familiar with
awesome,
this
so.
artist. It's Fran Gallen. It's very nice.
Oh, cool.
It's very it just gives little dialogue that really pushes the story along that makes it interesting and entertaining. Like I said, it's perfect.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, interesting. Layout, interesting art with no black outlines.
Yeah.
Around the art, which is always really cool. That's how Saga does that stuff too, and really ties things together, give it that cell shaded look. That's cool, man.
Love it.
Well, heck yeah. You guys, wow, we flew through that.
That's
Um,
good. We can have a good
well
30-minute show. That is nice.
Well done, you guys. All right. Well, anything else you guys want to lift up before we shut her down?
You got one.
Oh.
It's a quick one, I promise.
Uh-oh. Cyborg.
Basically, this came out, and it's a book that I'd definitely be into immediately. So why don't you guys take a guess on what I got?
Cyborg.
I would love that. Nothing came out this week about Cyborg.
I'm gonna guess before you show it. Is it this?
It is not that, but I do have it.
This is good though. I read it. Really.
Oh, it's good. I love that. No, it's you guys know I love the pulpier characters, the characters that are like way back when.
Of course.
So
Man.
Was it Zorro?
Yes, it's Zorro.
Yes!
Oh yeah.
Nice call, John.
Yeah, see, like Sean Gordon Murphy is doing this. I watched him doing it. There we go. Do an interview recently about this book where it just talks like I believe it's like Zorro in the modern time ?
I'm not right.
Like I've read the first 2 pages so far, and frankly, it's a character I can't believe I haven't read before. Like I've read The Shadow, I've read what's that one called? Hannibal Caine. All the pulp characters like the Rocketeer and stuff like that. All these characters of the Mystery Men style. That they're all like neo-noir detectives, but also they like have some weird fancy thing about them too. Like Zorro is one of the first to do that. Like he's like, there's a reason why Batman's movie a lot of times what he sees is Zorro in his origin movies and in books. So I was like, you know what? Sean Gordon Murphy knows how to write a tight Batman book. I can only imagine his Zorro is going to be wicked.
Is he writing and drawing that?
Yeah, I believe so. Wait, hang on. Let me.
And it's crazy. So is White Batman all done then? like 100%?
No, there's always going to be more of that. It does well enough to where if they'll every once in a while they'll throw out a single issue or another, or something else. Like he's just doing other work.
Crazy, yeah. And I just know it takes him a lot of time if he's going to write it and draw it. And then, yeah, I mean, I've loved him since Joe the Barbarian, Punk Rock Jesus, all of those.
Oh, I have that. I didn't know he did that.
Yeah, those are. But
that just looked dope, so I was going to read it.
Yeah, which one? Punk Rock Jesus?
Punk Rock Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, I have that in my. I'm going to read it eventually.
It starts awesome. It's not that great in the end, but it doesn't end great or doesn't end strong. You think it's really cool at first, and then it's not really as cool as you think it is. And you think, oh, maybe he is just really good at drawing like cars and motorcycles, because he is, and I'll fucking watch him.
He loves those things.
But yeah, man, I think he's such a unique. He came out and he started putting these lines on the noses of people in a very specific way, and then within like a year of him doing that, like 30% of comics had these lines on people's noses for like a year and a half. And it was just like the Sean Gordon Murphy effect of him coming out and everybody kind of biting his style for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, love him and didn't know he'd go to Zorro. And it's also like, why are you doing another license? Is it going to be good? When I think of Zorro, it's like, man, it's prime for the picking to become nobody's done a great Zorro book, man. Maybe this is the one. That's
kind of what I thought. I'm like, yeah, I need to get on this to make sure. Like, maybe it is really good.
Yeah, so, keep us posted for sure, Sam. That's
absolutely.
Dope, but yeah, I'm a Sean Gordon Murphy fan as well.
Do you guys like to know a fun fact about him before we wrap up?
Oh yeah.
So apparently, like, he goes only by Sean Gordon Murphy purely like professionally, just because there was another Sean Murphy. And so like when you talk to him, like he goes like, you don't have to say my whole name, guys.
Like, Sean Gordon Murphy, can you come over here?
Yeah, it's like
Sean Gordon Murphy, the bathroom is this way.
Yeah, it's just like, guys, please just call me Sean. I swear to God. That's like just a weird little thing I saw, like I heard them say when he was on this interview he was doing. That's so cool. Yeah, just I mean, I'll definitely keep you all posted. I'm probably gonna finish it up tonight. Yeah, so if you haven't read it or you didn't pick it up yet, check out Zorro. You might like it. Zorro, Man of the Dead.
Heck yeah.
I think it's only supposed to be 4 issues. If I'm not
mistaken. It's not supposed to be that long even. So it's like, it's, just get your 4 issues and you're done, You just read a classic character that's over 100 years old.
Boom.
Awesome. Well, I suppose on that note, we're going to wrap it up here, and then we're going to talk about some top secret stuff when the camera stops rolling. We're very excited about that stuff, too. More to come. But we are a comic book look, probably sponsored by Rainbow Comics. If you're in the Sioux Falls area, stop by 42nd in Minnesota. Say howdy to the team. Sam is there Wednesday through Saturday. That's right. And then if you're in Lincoln, Nebraska, stop by and say hi to Taylor and the team down there, too. Great people that'll help you out with those comic book needs. But until next time, I'm going to hit you with the Keep It Comics, and then I pass it to Mark to say,
backing and boarding's never boring.
Boom. And we'll see you